कार्ड देना संभव नहीं होगा। और दूसरे, चूंकि सबके प्रश्नों के उत्तर लिए जाएंगे, तो हम एक तरफ से सब लाइन से ले लेते हैं, जिससे क्रम बना रहेगा। तो पहली रो से अगर कोई नहीं है तो सेकेंड रो में आप प्रश्न पूछें। और एक चीज़ और ध्यान रखें, अगर किसी ने प्रश्न पूछ लिया है उसको फिर से न दोहराएं। तो लेफ्ट से सबसे पहले 25 नंबर आई थिंक। नहीं, आप पूछें। आप अगर पूछना चाहते हैं 2 नंबर इसी क्रम से हम आएंगे, हर लाइन पे जाएंगे, सो दैट सबको मौका मिलेगा। अपना परिचय दें और अपने संस्थान का परिचय दें।
One question for Shubhanshu and one for Dr. Chaitanya Singh. My name is Rekha Dixit and I'm from IIT Madras Shastra Magazine. Shubhanshu, I really would like to know what is the progress of the experiments. We had attended your press conference online the other day and you said that they've been sent back to the Earth labs. If you can give a detail, about what exactly is the scale or is the progress of those experiments. And Dr. Singh, I would like to ask you. There is this question at the back of everyone's minds. I know you say that the ISRO missions are all very cost effective and frugal and all, but Shubhanshu's ride has really very expensive. How do we justify that?
Sorry, justify? What did you say?
The cost of this.
Cost. His cost is much more than what you spend.
Exactly. How do we justify that?
और सबसे अनुरोध है कि एक प्रश्न पूछे, क्योंकि सबको मौका मिलना है। एक व्यक्ति एक प्रश्न, प्लीज।
His value is much more than that.
To your first question, the experiments that were conducted, we had 7 different experiments, and ranging from stem cell research to growing sprouts on the station. Some of them started showing results while we were there on the station as well, and so we knew that the results were very encouraging. However, before concluding anything, you have to analyze the data really carefully so that you are not jumping to any conclusions. So all of the experiments that were done on the station were then preserved and then frozen, and they have come back and they've been handed over to the PIs right now. They are analyzing the data. Some will be available soon, and some may take some few more months for them to publish. But I think within a few months we will have the results available and what we were able to do. But I would like to highlight one point here, that the benefit of conducting microgravity research on station was not just about the data that you get from these experiments. By doing this, what we have done essentially is we have enabled an entire ecosystem. All the researchers who participated in this now know how an experiment has to be designed for conducting research in microgravity. I think that is a very big learning along with just the scientific data that we are going to get. Thank you.
I think one, just to add to that, is why it will take time also is because this is the first of its kind happening. So we have no past precedents or role model to follow. In fact, they are the pioneers for the first ever such experiments.
Thank you. 25 I have. हो गया 25?
Sorry, you repeat that. You said cost. No, I think we are very cost effective. Our cost is much. Sorry.
चलिए 25 आप पूछिए।
I think we have had an equal collaboration, so I don't want to get into that. It's been a very profitable venture. And I think even in the times of Sarabhai, when we were venturing out with lesser resources, because we have, I must compliment our team ISRO, they have been making up for the lack of financial resources through their human resource. So we don't just move like a bullet train. Even when Chandrayaan, when we go in circles, take the best use of gravity, then we come to the outermost circle, then try to shoot into the moon circle. So it's like driving on a neutral gear when you slide down the car, if you purchase a second-hand car with a very cost-effective budget. It's like that.
25.
My name is Soumya Pillai. I am from The Print. My first question is to both the Group Captain Shukla and to Group Captain Nair. You guys were already training for the Indian Gaganyaan mission. How was your training different for Axiom 4? And Group Captain Shukla, you had said that you were carrying, it's an extension, you were carrying a surprise for Rakesh Sharma. Could you reveal what that surprise was?
It won't be much of a surprise if I reveal when Rakesh Sharma sir is not here, right? So I would probably wait for that when we meet him. But to your first question of how the training was different, We have trained at the Russian Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center as well, and thereafter we came back to India. We were training with ISRO, and after that we went to US for training for the Action 4 mission. Essentially, in all these three different training setups, we are training for the same thing. But it was very interesting to see of how people are achieving the same objective through different protocols. And it is possible. Questions like these, they do not have one right answer. There are several ways to do it. And I think the perspectives gained from the Russian training as well as the American training gave us unique insights of how we can approach, the philosophy of doing things can be different, but you end up achieving the same objective. Training was different, but philosophies broadly, for a human spaceflight mission are similar, but the methodology is probably different. That's what I would say.
54.
Yeah, so I'd like to just add to what Shubh has said. When we did our training in Russia and in the US, they were slightly different, but the astronaut or the cosmonaut community, they're all one. So even when we were there in Houston, we interacted with the cosmonauts. They were there to go in the Crew Dragon, and when we were there in Moscow, we interacted with the American astronauts. So space actually gets everybody together, and it is a common place where all knowledge is going from one side. And I can tell you one thing out here, and that's what makes us Indians very unique. We adapt very fast. Whether it's our accent, whether it is the way we can, understand, and anywhere we go, whether it's in Moscow or in the US, the first thing they say is, my God, you guys have brought out, problems in our books, which the last 60 years, nobody has brought out, because we want to, I don't use the Hindi word out here, you know what I'm trying to say, it starts with a K. We always, we have that inside us, but it's a good thing, and that's why we always are best wherever we go. And I'm telling you, from the horse's mouth, they actually said this. Thank you.
54.
Hi, this is Anona from the Indian Express. My question is to both the astronaut and Dr. Narayanan. What have we learned from Axiom 4 that can be used in Gaganyaan mission? If you could give a couple of specific things that we've picked up during this mission.
I think I did mention it when I was speaking in generic about what was the experience and how we did it. Human spaceflight missions are inherently much more complex than unmanned missions, because there are lives involved and there are complexities which come in with a human being on board. And there is literature available, you can read up about this and you can, learn about it. But still there are, like I said, the intangibles. You don't get to know them by just reading in the books or by, reading the articles. By being a part of this mission, we witnessed an end-to-end execution of a human spaceflight mission, and the learnings that are gained are much beyond the textbooks and the material that we have. Like experience small things, small stuff that you see every day happening. Why are they important? And what would happen if you miss it? And then during our mission, there were certain things that happened. The contingencies which were slightly off nominal, and that also helps you understand of why these missions are so complex, and what is important. So I think the value of being a part of such mission is really immeasurable, like the minister was mentioning, that it is, the information gained is much more and much beyond than what is the defined objective of the entire mission. Just by being there, having the experience, you touch the suit, feel it, and then you come back and say, this is what it was like. You cannot describe it in words, but you know how it feels like. So I think that is very important, and I think we have extensive information now, extensive knowledge, and also the perspective of both the sides, the Russian side and the US side as well, and I think that is going to prove very beneficial for our own mission.
39. Sorry. Okay, please.
Like what Shuk said, I would say, even if you write a PhD on the smell of a rose, a person who has never smelled a rose will not know what it means after reading the entire PhD. Until you go to space, you will not know what it means. It's very important, otherwise it makes no difference, it's all theory. So, yeah.
So to add to both of them, today I want to tell you, number one, working as a team in a space program, they have gained confidence working with an experienced team. And going to space and coming back, the entire training program, whatever done, and the entire adoption process, the microgravity, environment, what is faced, Today I am happy to announce that something around 4,000-page documents are already written down. The entire experience, because for the generations to gain in India, everything is documented. I think whatever we have spent is very, very small amount. Whatever we have gained as a country based on the Honorable Prime Minister's vision is so much from this program.
39.
Sagar from PTI. Hi, my question is for Captain Shukla. Were there any anxious moments during your flight after liftoff? And what thoughts came to your mind in those moments, if there were any? And to the chairman, you mentioned detecting the leaks on the SpaceX mission. Do you mean to say that SpaceX was actually trying to put the lives of astronauts at risk by going ahead, trying to go ahead with without rectifying the leaks?
So, to your first question of the feelings of anxiousness, I really did not have any feeling of anxiousness. Both the feeling that I would describe for launch, recovery, and the entire mission would be excitement. I was really excited about this mission. That is not to say that these missions are not risky. They are risky, but the strategy for executing such missions is to understand the risk. You know, you find what the risk is, you understand the risk, and then you find your ways and means to mitigate the risk. And you deal with it, you understand that. And there is risk everywhere. In a normal day-to-day life, you know, whatever you're doing, there is risk everywhere. But if you understand it really well, and if you know that there are ways to mitigate the risk, and there are levels of redundancies, and what to do if something doesn't go right, then I think it becomes much more manageable. So I really did not have any anxious moments. I was very excited about this entire mission. Thank you.
You know, statistically, the number of road accidents is much higher compared to the accidents. So I think that's reassuring enough.
To your question, just to no, let me answer your question. See, this rocket is a two-stage rocket. First stage is having 9 engines of liquid oxygen and kerosene. After the rocket is moved, a 8-second test is supposed to be done to understand the performance before giving the clearance. So they have completed the test, and then when we discussed how is the result, they didn't open up the result. They told the committees have cleared and we are going with the launch program. Probably they thought it's a minor leakage. That's what was the understanding. Because it was not a leak sensor, there was an oxygen sensor which has picked up. And when we came in the press, we asked, first question asked was, where is the leak? And to our surprise, they told they could not find out the location of the leak. We were shocked. Second, what is the leak rate? They told it is confidential message, this cannot be revealed. So when you probe again and again, out of 14 questions, hardly 2 questions were handled, and remaining was not answered, and we were not comfortable. Main advantage for us is our team is working in this area for 40 years. And if it is a small blowout, no problem. If it's a crack, it cannot be allowed. And then we insisted for complete correction, and then they had to call up the launch on 10th evening 5:50. 11th morning was supposed to be the launch. And after that, the management area direction find out the leak location. When they went and located, it was a crack in the field line. You know, it is a crack. And during the test, what has happened is continuously the leak was increasing. The data is available with us. And then, if the crack, if the rocket lifts up, what will happen is the moment it lifts up, the vibration will give away. Once it gives away, it's a catastrophic situation only, nothing else. And to their surprise, when they located, after authorizing the launch, and then based on our insistence, it was called up, then only they were trying to locate what happened. And to their surprise also, it was a crack. And finally, everything has to be corrected, and probably they took it little light. That's what I
Thank you,
feel.
sir. 22.
मैं पीयूष पांडे हूँ TV9 भारतवर्ष से। मेरा शुभांशु जी से सवाल है, आपने कहा कि बड़ा अविश्वसनीय अनुभव रहा एक्सो मिशन का, तो ये अनुभव जो है अब किस तरह से काम आएगा गगनयान मिशन में, और जब कठिन समय होता है तब आप किसे याद करते हैं? और जो कि आप लखनऊ से हैं, तो मैं ये ज़रूर जानना चाहूँगा कि अंतरिक्ष विज्ञान क्षेत्र से इतर और आप क्या शौक रखते हैं?
मिशन ये वास्तव में बहुत अविश्वसनीय मिशन रहा है। जैसा मैंने कहा कि हम ट्रेनिंग करते हैं, हम तैयारी करते हैं और एक इमेज बनती है आपके मन में कि कैसा महसूस होगा जाने से पहले। और मिशन तो 20 दिन का है, हम लोग 1 साल वहाँ थे, तो मेजॉरिटी टाइम जो था वो ट्रेनिंग में गया। लेकिन उसके बाद भी जब आप मिशन एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं तो उसका अनुभव कुछ अलग ही है। जैसा प्रशांत जी भी बता रहे थे आपको कि मैं अगर आपको बताऊं भी तो शायद मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो कन्वे कर पाऊंगा कि जो मैंने फील किया ये मिशन कैसा था। ट्रेनिंग के दौरान भी और मिशन के दौरान भी और जनरली लाइफ में भी मतलब मोमेंट्स आते हैं जब आप घबराते हैं या जब आपको डर लगता है या जब आप एंग्शियस हो जाते हैं, होती हैं चीज़ें ऐसी। ये कहना ठीक नहीं होगा कि कभी नहीं लगता, लगता तो है ही, कि सबको ही लगता है, डर सबको लगता है जैसे कहते हैं। बट मुझे लगता है कि विश्वास होता है लोगों पे। जैसे चेयरमैन इसरो ने भी कहा कि एक बहुत बड़ी टीम लगती है ऐसे मिशंस को एग्जीक्यूट करने में, और इससे बड़ा भरोसा तो आप किसी को नहीं दे सकते कि इंजीनियर आपके लिए वो मिशन तैयार कर रहा है, वो व्हीकल तैयार कर रहा है और वो रॉकेट तैयार कर रहा है, और आप बोल रहे हैं कि हाँ मैं इसमें बैठ के जाऊँगा, मुझे आपके ऊपर इतना भरोसा है। मैं अपनी मतलब आप एक तरह से अपनी लाइफ उसके हाथ में दे रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि मुझे आपके ऊपर भरोसा है। तो मुझे लगता है ये जो ट्रस्ट है, ट्रस्ट की भावना है, ये बहुत बड़ी एक चीज़ होती है जो आपको इन चीज़ों से डील करने में मदद देती है। एंड अगर कोई परेशानी है या कोई टेक्निकल कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है तो हम उसको डिस्कस करते हैं बहुत ट्रांसपेरेंसी से, और आई थिंक वो ट्रस्ट बढ़ाता है एक दूसरे के बीच में। तो ये कहूँगा मैं कि ये ट्रस्ट की जो भावना है, जितने भी लोग इन्वॉल्व हैं इस मिशन में, ये बहुत मदद करती है ऐसे मोमेंट से डील करने में।
एक सेकंड देखिए, आएंगे हम आपके पास। अच्छा, इनके सवाल का
शौक इसके अलावा मुझे फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज मतलब एक्टिविटीज़ पसंद है, स्पोर्ट्स पसंद है।
उन्होंने पूछा लखनवी शौक।
धन्यवाद।
ठीक है, सेकेंड रो में और कोई पूछना चाहता है? हाँ, 127।
Yes. My name is Sanjay Agarwal. So I want to ask you
एक मिनट,
what.
ये ले लीजिए, माइक।
Sorry.